Thank you for watching this presentation. I'm just going to talk briefly about a mass balance system I developed in Excel. It's called MMMassBal, MM being my original company name, MathsMat. And I know this opening sheet is a bit messy. It just contains data which I need to use. But basically, we're going to start by just a simple command which opens up various workbooks that I need to use. Now, when we look at this mass balance system, it's a system rather than just a single workbook, which is why I had to open up other workbooks. And currently, we actually have about 4 workbooks opened. We won't be going through all of them, but we will explain the key ones. So this particular workbook is the one where I'm going to apply the mass balance model, and I'm going to create streams information, unit information. Now, when I open up a file, I also open up an add-in, which is the mass balance system. And we've got various ribbon commands up here, which are all part of the system. Even opening that up, I've opened up about 20 VBA add-ins. We're going to now load the system, which allows us to analyze flow sheets. Because our first task is to read a flow sheet. So here's the flow sheet here. It's already been created. And in order to create these sort of flow sheets, we recommend you participate in our course, our Udemy course, flow sheeting in Excel. Now, each of these connectors have a name, PR1con. Each flotation cell has a name, flotation, PR1, and so forth. And what we want to do is read the flow sheet because the mass balance system uses the flow sheet to determine the flow of material. So which stream is connected to which unit and so forth. This particular case is simple because it's just one type of unit, which is a flotation cell. In general, mass balancing doesn't really become more complicated when we add different types of units. The differentiating units, comminution devices, in which case size is not conserved, and splitters, which may define a ratio of the split. So there's only really 3 types of units. We're just focusing on one here. The data itself is assay data. So if we were to go back here and just say what the data is, it says 1D mineral. Now there's options here. There's 2D, which is size by assay, and there's 3D, which is actually particle-based distributions, but we're not getting into that in this presentation. Similarly, there's lots of different options on the data structure, but we're just going to keep it to mineral, which here is really the same as assay. We're not doing any element to mineral conversion here. Now, we want to basically read the flow sheet. And so I say set. I'll just bring over the command and it says select the flow sheet. I haven't selected it, select it here. And it's set. Now I want to process it. There's various options in the way that flow sheets are constructed. This is a simple flow sheet. The complex ones are subject to a later discussion. And we don't have groups. Groups as if we've combined shapes together in some form. It's simple. We don't actually have to change anything, and we just say process flow sheet. The flow sheet information is now in memory. Now we want to define the relationship between the shapes and where the data is located in the workbooks. So we say set, and this is just mass balance. There's different ways we can define the relationship, although there are options here. There's only two I use, which is direct and mass balance. Now we have to be a bit more specific. So there's quite a few worksheets or workbooks open at this stage. We want the data to be in mass mincon results 1, and we want it to go to the name ranges. Now, if you haven't done name ranges, I encourage you to do the Udemy course, Effective Use of Name Ranges. We want the name range scope to be worksheet, so we deselect workbook. And where's it going to go? So unit is going to go in units. So we say apply, and stream is going to go in streams. And we close it. Now, these steps are at the development level. We've done all we can with this. So we now go back to MMMass and we transfer the flowsheet analysis data. It says it's transferred. And our first step is to create the tables. Now, these are already created, but we're going to recreate them. We're going to reinitialize, but this time I'm going to make sure that I'm on the workbook that I need to put the data into. So we say initialize. I'm just going to drag over the forms that are created. And I want it to be here where it is already. And the gap between tables or name ranges is to be 5. And the same here because it's on a different worksheet. So that's all it is. Now we can run it. And what it's going to do in the run is create all those tables. You can see that Excel's updating, creating the tables.